Hey everyone, welcome to Good Fight Culture Company. Today I have two very awesome guests.
My name is Motta. I am 47 years old. I'm a mother of two boys, Jackson, 10 years old, Gabe, 7. And probably the most important thing and the most proud thing about me is that I am a daughter of the King, and I know it, and I know what he has for me. I know who he is in my life.
Man, it's good. Hey, what's up, fam? My name is Peter Motta, aka Buffalo Pete. I am 46 years old. I am a present and engaged father. I am a faithful and loving husband. But more importantly, I am a Christ follower.
I wanted to know, and I think others want to know, is what you feel or what you think is the best thing about your marriage.
Ooh, best thing about your marriage, girl. Tell me.
So I think that the best thing about our marriage is that today, God is the center, that we can laugh, that we have fun, that we enjoy each other as not just husband and wife, but that we truly enjoy each other, being with each other, being with our kids. I think that's the best part about us, is that we still love to hang out together.
Hey, so in order for me to tell you what I believe is the best part of our marriage, I have to give you a little backstory. So I met this beautiful woman here 30 plus years ago. Next year will be 31 years. I remember walking the halls of Jordan High School in North Long Beach and just seeing this stunning, beautiful nerd, man, just amazing with these Coke bottle glasses and her jean jacket and the JanSport backpack. See me, like the seams were busty, man. She couldn't fit another book in that thing. And yes, she had another stack of books in her arm. And I saw her and it was just like there was something about her. She really, really seemed angelic to me at the time. If somebody were to ask me, put a title on your relationship, I'd say the knucklehead and the saint. She was doing all the right things and I was doing all the wrong things. But fast forward, we've been together for 30 plus years. The best thing about our marriage today is that God is the center of it. And that we are both on the same wavelength, to the point that when I take my eyes off of God, she's quick to remind me and to bring me back. And I do the same for her. I think that is the only reason why we are where we are today.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to introduce my wife into the podcast. So you guys, Vanessa. Let me scoot this over a little bit.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Steve.
So we just went over what is the best thing about your marriage. But I want to hear a little bit about, you said you've been together for 30 years, 30 something years. How long have you been married, and how long have you actually been together as a couple?
Go on, honey. She's the one with the dates, man.
I really don't remember.
She's our record keeper.
So we've been married 23 years. 23 years. So we met in high school. I was 17, he was 16. And 7 years later, we got married. It's been a real roller coaster, I would say. We've been through lots of battles, some blessings, but I think, honestly, in the last 6 years, God's had really a hold on us, and we've had a hold on him. And I think it's really been, although there's still challenges and there's still some things, I think he's been pretty consistent in showing us where he wants us and where we're going together, as not just a marriage, a couple, but as a family.
Okay. So in that time together, you guys have had no issues, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I know it's hard to tell who the saint and who the knucklehead is, but I drug this woman and our family through some pretty ugly stuff. Of those 30 something years, 25 of those years consisted of infidelity, drug abuse, financial mismanagement, emotional neglect and abuse. It was quite a storm that I drug my wife through. So we, like she mentioned, man, we've had our shares of battles and blessings. And I look back on all of that, and it's I brought that upon myself. It was my actions, and I can correlate the outcome and the things that happen directly to my actions and me living a self-centered life. I entered our marriage thinking, how is she going to serve me? How is she going to make me better? And now, 30 something years later, I can look back and say, I had it twisted. I had it all wrong.
It's good. I like the way, it's funny is you say one's a saint, one's a knucklehead. And the way she expressed, like, there were some issues. She was like, there were some battles and blessings. And then you're like, no, this was actually what happened. So
yeah,
that's really, yeah.
She was nice.
Love covers a multitude of sins.
Okay, our next question is, one scripture that you feel God gave you about your marriage, if you have one.
So I don't know if you could say it was about my marriage. It was definitely about me, and it was through probably one of the most difficult times in my life. And God used someone that I didn't know her really well, but I knew her well enough to share what I was going through, and she gave me Jeremiah 29:11. And we know that it talks about his plans and the plans that he has, and that they're not to hurt us, and they're to prosper us, and they're to kind of make us better, and kind of to keep my eyes on him is how I took that. And like, even though you're going through this really deep valley for me, I really felt like that verse has kind of led me through that valley and shown me, like, you know what, it's real what he says about the plans. They're not about my plans, they're not about his plans, they're about his plans. And if I just keep my eyes on his plans, he'll never fail me. He'll never lead me wrong. Like, it might not be a fun journey, but it'll get me to where he wants me to be, whatever that looks like. I'll get there. And so that verse kind of be my life verse, and kind of sitting on it in some of the most challenging times in our relationship and in my life, just for me as an individual, has been able to kind of keep me going and pressing in and seeking him, knowing that he has the plan. He has my plan, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, it's always been 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 7. We all know the verse, love is kind, love is patient. And it's interesting because this verse spoke to me even when I was a child. I remember, like, that's always been like the verse that, like, my go-to verse, right? And now that I look back on it, I feel like God was already planting a seed, because I think that this verse, we know that it was when it's written, it was designed to help give a foundation to the church. But for me, it's like, it's course correction. When I'm out of pocket, like, if I'm boastful, if I'm envy, if I'm self-serving, like, this verse just brings me back. Everything, and I can look back on everything I did for those 25 years in that chaos and in our storm. Had I been more intentional about actually understanding what this verse meant, it would have changed the game.
Kind of going off script a little bit. What is something that makes you guys just, like, laugh? Like, what are the things you guys love to laugh about? Do you like comedies? Do you like hanging out? Just him.
Just him. And the crazy things he says. It's really like, we're in the car driving, he'll say something crazy, and I'll start laughing, and he goes, man, if I could make everybody laugh like you, I could be a comedian, we'd be making money. It's just the way he says things, his facial expression, like, it's just him. He just makes me laugh.
That's good.
I love that she does that. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not even that funny, but hey, I'm a roll with it.
I'm not even that
I'm a roll with
funny.
it, you know. It's exciting. I think for me to get to a point where I can amuse my wife, you know, where I can, because especially of the journey that we've been through, to be in a place today where she can look at me and say, I could say something off the wall, something silly, and that she could laugh. Like compared to where we've been, like for me, that just like that warms my heart, man. That's really exciting for us to be where we are today, and for me to be able to just say, or even I'll take something that the kids said, you know, and I'll make a joke of it. And my boys are funny; they don't know they're funny, but it's pretty funny. Hey, some people don't know what baggy means, honey.
They.
Okay, yeah. Can you communicate for those that are unaware of the term, or I believe it would be a slang bag? Like what would that be? Because I think an equivalent term would be like roast or
right.
You know.
Yeah, to roast, to ride somebody. Yeah, I have it a little bit.
That Long Beach is coming out.
My boys, they give me a lot of material, man. They give me good content, for sure.
All right. Speaking of your boys, what advice would you give your kids about marriage? I know they're not ready. I know they're younger. Yeah. But like as you're building that up and, you know, what are you writing down to say, I'm going to talk to my kids about marriage. This is going to be included in that conversation.
So I actually kind of started talking to them about their someday wives, because I have two boys, right? So we went to a kids camp last year, and they talked about how, you know, the kids should pray for their someday wives or someday husbands, right? And I was like, man, that's true, you know, because we don't know, for us having boys, we don't know what those little girls are going through right now. They don't know what they're going through. And just to be praying for them, and as a mom, for me to be praying for their someday wives, you know, that the Lord, you know, bring them a wife that is a godly woman, that is, you know, all those things. But for me to tell them, hey, did you pray for your someday wife? And then they get all, you know, embarrassed, and they start making faces, and they're like, you know, ugh. And then I'm like, you have to pray for her. You don't know what she's going through. You don't know where she is. We don't know who she is. But you need to pray for her, that, you know, God knows who she is, who he has selected for you. And if you pray for her, you know, you'll feel better. You'll help her, you know, you'll strengthen that. And then they're like, you know, can I pray for her in my mind? And I'm like, you can pray for her in your mind in silence to yourself. Just pray for her.
Yeah.
And so I have been talking to them about that. But I think something that I would tell them and I would remind them is, like, that I think that we as parents, everybody as parents, should realize is that we are the example. So the best advice that I could give them is to be the example of the wife that they want to have, right? And that he be the example of the husband that they should be. You know what I mean? So I think that as parents, our best advice for them is, in my opinion, is that we be that example for them.
Yeah.
That we be that they look at him and be like, I want to be like him. You know, and then when they see me, I want to find a woman like that.
Yeah.
So I think that for us as parents, for me, that's how I feel like that's the best advice. That's the best thing that I could give them, is to be the example.
Yeah.
For them.
Rob me. Are you looking at my notes, woman? Hey, you know, on that note, a father turns to his son and said, watch where you step. The ground is uneven. And the child looks up at his dad and says, you watch where you step, because I'm stepping in your footsteps. Man, I feel like because of where we are in our lives today, like we're really intentional about everything that we do and that we say. There are times where we slip. There are times where we take our eyes off of God, but we're really transparent with our boys. They know about the chaos that we've been through. They know about God's redemption and God's redemptive power in our lives. They know how God has restored us. Like, my sons can tell you our testimony in their own words. And I feel like that That's the best thing I can do is give them the truth. But in that truth, the truth and the foundation of that truth is that God is sovereign and God loves you and God's going to be there for you and that we have to give our lives to him. I feel like for me, the advice that I give them is, like my wife said, is living it out, honoring him. They see us serve. They see us in our walk. It's not, we don't turn it off. It's not on Sunday we're Familia Motta, the Christians, and then at home we're Familia Motta del Mundo, right? Of the world, right? Like we stay consistent. And I feel and agree with my wife. I think for us, the biggest thing is making sure that we are being the example of what they need to be. There's something that my wife says when we meet with couples. My wife will ask, and this is, man, I'm like, oh, my wife will ask a dude, like, hey, are you being the husband that you want your daughter to have one day? Mm-hmm. And she'll ask the wife, like, are you the wife that you want your boys to have? Mm-hmm. Like, when we lead with that question, when we parent out of that question, when we do husbandhood and wifehood out of that question, man, it's a game changer. Mm-hmm. And every time she says it, I'm like, I feel convicted. I'm over here.
Because, I think it's because it's cyclical. What they see, even though they might not like it, and they might be like that's, I don't want that. Like, I don't want that. They most likely will end up with that because that's what they know. That is their comfort, whether it's chaotic or whether it's great. Yeah. That is usually what they'll end up with because that's what they know. It's comfortable for them. So I actually have them close their eyes. And I have them envision their son or daughter like at the altar. And then I have them picture their spouse or their soon-to-be spouse. And then now open your eyes and that spouse is exactly like you. And are you smiling? Does that put a smile on your face? To know that the person they're going to end up with is exactly like you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's rough because you have to look inward and be like, ah. Like my kids, as small as they are, they're looking, they're watching, and they're listening. Yeah. How do you speak to each other? How do you treat each other? So it's not just about like, oh, everybody playing their positions, right? Because he used to say that back in the day. Like, we know our positions. You play your position, right? So it's not just about playing the wife position, the husband position. It's not just about, who's doing chores, who's doing this. It's about like, how do we love on each other? Do they see us? Do they see us kids? And then they close their eyes and they say, yeah. Do they see that? Like, those are things they also need to see. They need to see us laugh. They need to see us have fun. They need to see us like enjoy each other, enjoy life. Right? And so it's not just about who's cooking dinner and if I get home, I cook and you get home, you cook. It's not just about that. It's about them seeing us pray together. They see us serve in church. They see us laugh. They see us be affectionate. They see us like just enjoy each other. Like the whole thing, like that's what I want for them. I want them just the whole thing, not just for them to take one piece and be like, oh, my parents, they did that. I want that. Like, I want them to see it and be like, man, I want that. Like, that's what I want. Yeah.
On that note, I'm going to give you a quick example. There was one morning during the school year where she was having a rough start to her day. Mm-hmm. And she had driven off to work, and I was driving Jackson, our oldest, who was 10, to school. And he looks at me and goes, Papi, Mommy was having a rough day today. And I said, yeah, Papa. He goes, we should call her and pray for her. And it's not because we're holier than now. It's just, that's the example that he has seen. And so my prayer is that he'll take that with him into his own marriage and into his own fatherhood. And it was funny because afterwards, I connected with her after I dropped him off. And she said, did you tell him to do that? And I said, no, that was all him. That was all him. And I pointed out, like, that's because he sees how we get down. He sees when I need prayer and I'm in the couch and you come up to me, you just randomly start praying over me. Like, he sees that. He sees that we know that God is the answer, and that's who we run to all the time, in the good, the bad, or the ugly.
Yeah. Speaking into a few things you said, but one of them is that when you have families. So I grew up in church. I was around a lot of different families that grew up in church. And one of the biggest differences was that we saw like people go different directions as we all got older. And one of the things in having conversations with them later in life was that church and home didn't add up. And what pushed them away from even God was the idea that when they'd be at church and their parents would like talk about Jesus, the love of God, like all these things, it didn't make sense when they got home because they didn't act like that was true. So like I grew up in a home where I could honestly say like it was genuine who my parents were at church, they were at home, and I was not able to like, look at something and be like, oh, they're liars. The truth was that they were believers of the truth, So that's a big deal, and I think like for any parents that even people listening, that being who you are at home and who you are at church should not be separate. And actually, I would even say that who you are at home matters a little bit more than who you are at church. Because we can learn to play church, So
because it's easy. It's easy. It really is. I mean, depending on what your church community and environment looks like, man, it's easy. It's easy to do church. It's easy to play church. Everybody's kind. Everybody's loving. How are you doing? And then when you leave there, it's like, okay, real world, back into the game of life, right? We left that holy huddle, and now we're stepping into real life. Like, what are you going to bring with you?
Yeah.
And are you going to be the same person, right? And just on that note, if I may, I appreciate that you brought that up because I personally grew up in a home where it was two different people. I remember so vividly driving up to church. I was maybe around 13, 14 years old. In the Astro van, and my three brothers, my mom, my dad, right? And I remember vividly my parent turning around, cursing me as we're driving into the parking lot, and in the same breath, turning around and saying hi to one of the hermanos. Like, que Dios lo bendiga, hermano, in the same breath, right? And I don't share this to put my parents down or anything. It was a bad space we were in, but it played out like that for me for a long time, and that's why I disconnected from one of the reasons why I disconnected from church was because I saw one thing here and I saw another thing there.
So she cussed, you say cursed you? Did she cuss you out? Or
yeah, she was
okay.
Like, hijo de. Heavy. Oh man, in my home it was heavy-handed, bro.
And then turn around and was like, "Hey, God bless you, brother."
Yeah, hermano, que Dios me lo bendiga.
Yeah,
and it's like, bro, that was just one example that I'm giving you, but that was our life for years, for a long time, and it was impactful. Now that I look back on that, though, and I'm gonna just drop this real quick. I hear about church hurt, right? And we hear these stories about church hurt, and in my mind, I think about how many times have you went to McDonald's or In-N-Out or wherever, and you got there, they got your order wrong. They got your at the coffee shop, they got your coffee, right? You don't got In-N-Out church hurt. You don't got McDonald's hurt. You keep going back.
Keep going back.
You don't say, no, I don't go to McDonald's anymore. They got my order wrong there. One time they gave me bad service. I got McDonald's hurt. We keep going back, but why do we apply the word hurt to church?
Yeah.
We don't keep going back. It's like, oh, no, they did me wrong that one time. It's a wrap. I'm not going back. But ahí estamos, going back to the McDonald's and going back to the In-N-Outs and whatever it may look like, right? But yeah, for me, that was good. That was real, man. I saw that, and it was one of the things that propelled me to walk away from my church at a young age.
So then our next question is, what relationships outside of your marriage have helped you?
Believers, with people that are encouraging, supportive, that I can have fun with, and there's no that we can laugh. Like we just did it for 4th of July. We spent it with some of our church family, and you know, we could laugh. We can have a good time, and there's no like, there's no expectation. Like you don't like, oh, what are you gonna do for me that I can do for you, or vice versa. It's just like we're kind of like-minded. We can have fun. We're not, you know, anything like that. But that when I need it or when they need it, I can speak life, pray over them. They can speak life, encourage me, love on me. Probably one of the most impactful conversations that I've ever had was with the one that gave me my life verse. Her name is Gris. Gris is a very no filter, you know, tell it like it is. Like, you know, some people either love her or hate her. I didn't know her really well, but for some reason, she was the person that I called that day. She was the person that I was like, I need to speak to you. I need to talk. Something happened. I need to talk. I didn't know where she lived. She's like, come to my house. And so it was kind of like, for me, it was like a life emergency, right? Like I needed to call somebody, and that is who I called. And I feel like it wasn't just because I wanted to tell her. I think it was because God knew that she would be somebody that was going to give me what I needed to hear. And it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to hear. And it wasn't necessarily how I wanted somebody to agree with me and in a decision that I wanted to make, because I wanted to leave him. And so I wanted somebody to agree and say, yeah, you're good. God's good with that.
Wait a minute.
You are good. This is a good reason. You can go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
That's okay. Right? And that's not what she did. She did the opposite. And she like gave him credit for coming clean with something that I was like, I just wanted you to tell me that I was good, that you agree with me, and she didn't. So it's not just because I wouldn't say like that relationship is because, oh, she tells me what I want to hear, or she tells me like, you know, she tells me I'm okay. Is that knowing who she is and her personality, and God used her to say these things to me, and I was just shocked. And I thought, if anybody would, now knowing her way better, if I would be like, she would be the one to tell me like I'm good. I should have went to her, right? But no, she didn't. God used her to let me see and not make decisions on just my flesh, how I wanted to do it. And she gave me that life verse, and I think it was to kind of like you need to like not make these decisions based on you and your emotions and how you feel. It's about God's plan. You know, where is God? Why is this happening? What should you do? Right? I can't control him. Mm-hmm. Right? So I can't say like, oh, he did that for me. Like I can't control him, but I can control where God wants me to go in this, and to be able to put somebody like her in that position to be able to make me see past what I wanted and make myself sit and seek him for guidance. That when I felt I didn't get it, he kind of, when I couldn't hear him is what I think. I think that he was trying to tell me and I just didn't want to hear it. And he physically put a person in my face, another person in my face, to tell me what he wanted me to do, or where he wanted me to look. I want you to see, right? But for him to take that personality in Gris and be able to, for her to love on him, not even just love on me, but love on him and just love on the situation and pray for me for 2 hours and kind of sit with me and listen to me and really just have a conversation. But it wasn't talking trash. It wasn't that, you know what I mean? So I think surrounding myself with those kind of women and those kind of just people in my life has helped me kind of push through some of those really deep valleys.
So just to kind of like talk about this a little bit more. You said that you're getting ready to leave him.
Yes.
And this friend, Gris?
Yeah.
Gris.
Oh, sorry. I got a little old ER. Gris. That she came in and just kind of spoke some hard truths that at the time you were looking for somebody to just agree with you.
Yes.
And let me ask you this. So the question was, what relationships outside of your marriage have helped you? Let me ask you this. If even in the church, would you say that there are relationships with other, even married women, sometimes single women, that are not beneficial? And do you feel like if it was the wrong group, they would have just told you, like, just leave, go?
Yeah.